It has been nearly 8 years since Star Citizen went into development. That should have been more than enough time for its completion, especially when considering the massive crowdfunded cash streams lining up all these years. Developer Cloud Imperium Games likes to think differently. The studio and its founder Chris Roberts like to see Star Citizen as the game that solves every puzzle, answers every question, caters to every space-loving fan, and pretty much does anything and everything and more. This craze for perfection and fulfillment has led the developer down a rabbit hole that continues to promise new content, features, and modes one after another. The only problem is that the developer has seldom been able to keep those promises and has also never stopped from making new ones. Fast forward to today, and the situation is a complete mess. Star Citizen continues to be a dream that gets wrapped up in more controversy as time flies by. There's seemingly no end in sight, but strangely, hope still lingers on. Hi, I'm Wes Malik from Segment Next, and here is how Star Citizen holds up right now. Keep in mind that due to the vast emptiness of space, don't expect too many details, but rather a quick oversight. You'd think after all this time, there would be some gloomy atmosphere surrounding the community. There is none. Majority of the backers are satisfied with how the development is progressing. In fact, the developer continues to pull new space cadets and their fat wallets even today. Star Citizen raised another $4.6 million this past October and an astonishing $7 million last month to push the overall crowd-funded revenue past $200 million, all thanks to an anniversary event that ended earlier this week. Star Citizen is on point to start the new year with at least $210 million in crowd-funded revenue. It's actually amazing that despite being an unfinished game, the crowdfunding graph continues to maintain a stable rise. Cloud Imperium Games has somehow managed to keep an incredibly loyal following, which translates into every backer having contributed around $100 on average. Where raising money is concerned, Star Citizen is undoubtedly a remarkable story. Moving past that, however, tells a different tale. There are vicious optimization issues that ruin everything. The gameplay, while using a GTX 1080 with the latest drivers, suffers from constant stuttering whether the graphics settings are set to ultra or low. The frame rate itself seems to rely on the population and can enjoy a healthy 60 frames per second in an empty server before dipping as more players start joining. There have been numerous theory crafting over the cause, ranging from the processor being bottlenecked to memory leaks, and in the current situation, Star Citizen is most likely to offer around 20 frames per second on average in a full server of 50 players regardless of how powerful your machine is. Some like to overlook the performance issues because Star Citizen has some jaw-dropping visuals. The sad truth is that they're actually right because there is nothing substantial to do in the game than just gape at those pretty visuals. The promised gameplay was supposed to allow players to pursue careers on both sides of the law. The current sandbox, however, is extremely limiting. There are just a handful of space stations, albeit fleshed out in great detail, a base planet with abandoned AI characters that just stare blankly, and a few cargo fetch missions that are as buggy as the accompanying gameplay mechanics. The only thing to do is buy and fly spaceships, or land them on a pad and tour their interiors. Sure, there's a player versus player element and the players can go for dogfights, but unfortunately, even that mode comes with an assortment of bugs and glitches. Star Citizen continues to be in early access after 8 years. Alpha 3.0.0 was supposed to make things much better earlier this year and prove the naysayers wrong. It did not. The year is almost over, and Star Citizen is now looking to release Alpha 3.4.0 in the coming weeks with additional solar locations and a ton load of optimizations. Suffice to say, it is going to take more time before Star Citizen becomes anything like it was originally envisioned to be. There was a time when Cloud Imperium Games was floating 2020 as an ideal release window for Star Citizen. Could still be managed, but not as the refined product being touted by the developer all these years. Realistically, there's no way of chalking down a release window for Star Citizen even in a decent state. There are just so many empty rooms to fill and clogged drains to open. There is a lesson to be learned here, and the teacher is Elite Dangerous, a spaceflight simulation game by Frontier Developments. Elite Dangerous went into development around the same time as Star Citizen. It also had a similar crowdfunding campaign at the start that raised £1.7 million, a few drops in the ocean compared to the numbers crunched by Star Citizen. The difference, though, is that Elite Dangerous reached its goals and released on time with glowing reviews. There's a massive story to experience, alongside a lot of spaceships and factions, different modes, and more. Sure, the visuals may not match up to Star Citizen in certain areas. For example, most of the space stations look pretty similar to each other, and the planetary stations themselves are pretty basic. But it is a working universe, and that is what counts in the end for backers, at least for the ones that are sane. Did you back Star Citizen or are planning to do so? Let us know why in the comments below.